Am I the asshole for being rude to my boyfriend after he withheld the salt from me? My female 27, boyfriend, male 30, are currently on vacation with his family. I have volunteered to cook most nights because I love to cook and I am the best at it out of the entire group. This evening, I was making a dish for everyone and asked my boyfriend to please get me an array of seasonings for this specific dish: MSG, soy sauce, pepper, and salt. He then said, "If you're using MSG, do you really need salt?" To which I explained that MSG is not salty, has 1/3 of sodium content to regular salt, and that dishes, if they're using MSG, will still typically require salt. I was cooking outside on a griddle and the dish comes together quickly, so I was not able to go back to grab any additional seasonings. I realized shortly afterwards that he did not include salt, just 3 out of the 4 things I requested. When asked, he said we didn't need it. I tried the food, it was bland, so he then proceeded to put an additional soy sauce, which it did not need. It needed fucking salt. Either way, I was defeated and needed to take it off, so I served it as is without salt. Everyone, upon being served, said it needed salt and proceeded to salt their own dishes. My boyfriend stood by his decision and doubled down on his argument that you can't remove salt, but you can add it, and that he preferred how it tasted as is. I was fuming because he has done this in the past and says I occasionally overseason/oversalt food. However, it does not happen regularly enough to be an issue. Occasionally accidental. I do 90% of the cooking at home and he loves my food. We argued about it and he stood his ground that he prefers his food less salty and that if I salted it, that he would have been shit out of luck and not been able to eat any of it. However, the amount of salt it required was not enough to be overly salted, and that I know for a fact the amount of salt I would have used, he would have happily eaten it. I told him his behavior felt controlling, and he hit me with I could have grabbed more salt myself. But again, this dish, if I stepped away, would have burned very quickly. Am I the asshole for being angry and calling my boyfriend controlling for not just getting me the salt when I asked for it initially?
Am I wrong for being annoyed at my fiance choosing my ring? Background: I am a goldsmith and have been for over 10 years. I work part-time for an independent jeweler as a bench jeweler and also have my own business where I do commissions and repairs. My fiance openly admits he knows nothing about jewelry but supports my work. My fiance, 38 male, and I, 36 female, have been together for 5 years. We have discussed marriage at length, and during these conversations, I have said when it comes to engagement rings, because of my job, I know exactly what I want. We also talked about how I want to make it because then I know it is exactly what I want and is also handcrafted and not a cast mount. This is how most rings are made these days, which is fine for most people. It would also be substantially cheaper for me to make it compared to buying one from a jeweler. So I could also have more ring for less money. As this was my literal job, he agreed and said it wasn't traditional but sounded romantic at the same time. On New Year's Eve, he proposed. I, of course, was delighted and said yes. Then he pulled out a ring. I could tell by the box it wasn't a cheap placeholder ring to wear whilst I made the real thing. It's also exactly what I didn't want. A solitaire round diamond on a cast white gold band. That's your style, great. I've made enough of them over the years, but it's everything I didn't want. I didn't see anything on the night, obviously, but the next day I sat him down and asked him why he bought it when he agreed on me making it. He said it was traditional for the man to get the ring and that I should be happy he got me one. He also spent 4 times what it would have cost me to make it. Short version is, I told him while I appreciate him wanting to be romantic and get me a ring, this isn't what I wanted. The cost is disproportionate and we should look at returning it and having me make another ring. He called me ungrateful and I should just be glad he got me a ring and that I would learn to like it. I'm the one wearing it, I need to like it. This is something I tell every person I do a ring commission for, and he knows this. He agreed to return it. Thankfully he can, and let me source the materials and stones to make up the ring, but he's really not happy. So am I the asshole here?
So I was working at K Jewelers while getting my master's degree. And the policy there is that everyone who comes inside of the store and they need to get their ring cleaned or inspected, we have to look up their account to log the inspection, right? Hear that. I was following company policy. Hear that. This man and his wife come inside of the store. She comes straight up to me and she's like, I'm here to get my ring inspected. I'm like, cool. I know how to do that. Let me hook you up, girl. I grab my tablet. I'm like, who is the ring under? Whose name? And she's like, oh, my husband's name. So she tells me her husband's name, his phone number. Mr. Man back there looking at the watches. He not paying attention to nothing, okay? So I enter husband name, phone number. Cool. After I do that, 2 rings pop up. and they look kind of similar. Okay, so it wasn't like, it was like one ring that was like a chocolate diamond and the other ring that was like a regular diamond. It was two cluster rings, and if you know about cluster rings, they kind of all look the same. No tea, no shade. So I'm like, ma'am, is it the ring from 2012 or 2009? She goes, 2009. So now I'm officially scared of this woman because I know what's up. I know what's tea. I can see the pieces coming together. She goes, hand me the tablet. And I go, no problem, because who am I to stand in the way of a woman scorned? So I go to the ring cleaning station and I'm cleaning the ring. And you ever been at somebody's house? You ever been at your friend's house while they getting in trouble? And all you can hear is their mama yelling at them in the background and you just sitting in their room like this. That was me. So I'm sitting there inspecting the ring, and all I hear is, who was that ring for? Who was in 2009? You was married? You got another wife? And I'm like, wait. Yo, homie had 2 wives. 2 wives. I get done inspecting her ring. I walk back over to her and I'm like, here goes your ring. This man looks me in my face and goes, nice job, stupid. Because what you're not finna do is blame me for the fact that you decided to 2-time at K Jewelers. Okay, you got bigger fish to fry, my friend. The woman has herself a little shopping spree. She gets a necklace, a watch, and a little tennis bracelet for her troubles. And they go on about their day.
I recently just ended a 3-year friendship with one of my best friends, and this is why, but I feel kind of bad about it. I tend to do things without thinking too much. Like, I tend to just go with my gut instincts, and I need your guys' advice. You know those people who are kind of like overly friendly? They have like this amazing talent of being able to talk to anybody and hold a conversation with anybody and make everyone kind of feel special in the room. I love those people, but it's just like slightly like a little bit sus. We jumped into a friendship. It was kind of weird. She would always invite me to go out to parties and stuff and like go to the bar. It kind of became like one of the only things that we would ever do together. She would invite me out to these little events and these little get-togethers on like a Tuesday. This girl would do that almost every single day of the week. She wouldn't go to school the next day. I would go over to her dorm and we would get ready to go out and go do something. Her like overly niceness would turn into kind of these snarky passive-aggressive comments. I was just doing my eyeshadow or whatever, and she looks at me and she's like, how do you feel comfortable wearing that much makeup? How do you do it? I just really love clean girl makeup. It looks so mature and just like, you're not trying too hard. I was like, clean girl makeup doesn't really suit everybody though. It favors more Eurocentric, like white girl beauty standards a little bit. She's like, yeah, you're right. You're probably right. It was like 7 p.m. and I started getting hungry. So I asked her if she wanted to order DoorDash. She's like, I'm good. You know, I don't eat fast food that much and I just bought groceries. I would offer you some, but I know that you hate healthy food, so. Sometimes I just felt like she was just disgusted by me. Like, it made me think, okay, are you really my friend or are you just my friend because you don't have any other friends? I left her dorm to go to the party, got into the Uber, drove all the way to the party, and as we're walking outside of the Uber to the front steps, she turns to me and she goes, you're so brave for wearing slides out to a party. I could never wear slides to a party. I would feel like a bum. I swear she waited until after we left her house because she knew it would be too late for me to change my shoes. The night goes on. She's off talking to a bunch of guys. So one of the guys that was originally talking to her leaves her and comes up and starts talking to me. I tell the guy, sir, I have a boyfriend. You're wasting your time. Out of nowhere, while I'm talking to this guy, for probably less than 5 minutes, to be honest, she comes up to me, runs up to me. She's like, come to the bathroom with me. Pulls me away into the bathroom. We're in the bathroom. She's looking at herself in the mirror, looks at me, dead in the eye. Do you think you're pretty? She turns back to the mirror. She looks at herself, dead in the eye, in the mirror. I know I'm pretty. Okay. Opens the bathroom door and leaves. As more people are filtering out, the guys who were throwing the party were like clearly getting more and more desperate. So I was minding my own business, and at one point, this group of like 5 guys comes up to me and they kind of swarm me and they're talking to me and they're like, what's your name? What's your Snapchat? What's your major? All this stuff. And I'm like, okay, guys, I did not come here to find a man. I have a boyfriend. I'm taken. And even if I wasn't taken, I would not find a guy that's partying on a Tuesday. While I'm telling these guys to go kick rocks, I notice her looking at me from the kitchen. She then runs up to me again and says, I need you for a minute. Grabs my arm again, pulls me into the hallway. I'm like, oh nice, I have a good friend who's saving me from these random gross ugly dudes. But no, she looks at me and she goes, I'm your friend and I'm just trying to be real with you. I'm just trying to be really real, like so real. It looks like you're a whore and you look really desperate and it's embarrassing. I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm done. I said, I'm gonna go home now. And I left. I got an Uber and I left. Went to bed, no text from her. She didn't call me, anything. She didn't even question it. I just left, never heard from her. The next morning, I wake up to my boyfriend who had sent me a screenshot. This bitch had DM'd him at 2 a.m. Hey, I'm on campus right now and I'm scared to walk to my dorm alone. Will you come walk me to my room? Hey, period. Like just you or? Yes, it's just me. I have work tomorrow and I'm in bed, period. Sorry, period. No one else I know is awake. Please. And then she uses the emoji. He didn't reply. She double texted him saying, I know you're a sweet guy and you don't have to worry about her getting mad. Again, he didn't reply. Third text. I've always thought you were sweet. My man is loyal. So you thought. So she has not tried to contact me yet. This was 3 days ago. Unfortunately, though, I have school on Tuesday. So we're going to see each other eventually. Just like in simple terms, what do I do?
I need y'all to tell me if I'm tripping or if these people were racist. Actually, no, I know these people were racist. I just want to tell you about it. Okay, so a little background. I go to school in DC and we have off-campus lunch, which means I can leave the school campus and go get lunch at one of the restaurants around town because they're all close in the vicinity and they trust us to come back. One of my friends has come in sometimes with like a little chicken combo thing and she's like, oh my gosh, it's so great. You get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, and boba all for $12. And I'm like, you know what? That is pretty great. That is kind of a steal. So me and a couple of my other friends decide to go to this place. She doesn't come this time, but we all go. We get there at 1 o'clock. The timestamps are important. It's 1 o'clock. We get there, we walk in. The place is called TKK Chicken in Luna Hall in Chinatown. Drop in the address right now. Chinatown, Luna Hall, TKK Chicken. Okay. So we're looking at the menu, and it seems like you can get the combo she was talking about for like $12 or $13. So I'm like, okay, so my friend goes ahead of me, and he orders like the chicken sandwich version of the meal, and it's $13. I order right after him, and I order what my friend said. It's $18. And I'm like, why is it $18? So I'm like, okay, maybe she was talking about a different thing and I accidentally ordered wrong. My other friend goes after me. We order the exact same thing. Hers is about $4 less than mine is. I'm going to get to that part in a minute, but all 4 of us order and it's about $110 right now. So we're waiting. They give us our boba that came out in a reasonable time. The first guy that ordered, he gets his food first. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm next because I ordered second. No, the guy that ordered last, he gets his food next. But he and the first guy got the same thing. So I'm like, okay, maybe that takes like a shorter amount of time to make. I don't know why a chicken sandwich is shorter than 3 tenders, but whatever. But I'm not going to trip about it. So they call a few more people. And I'm like, okay, well, I definitely have to be next, right? No. They call my friend who ordered after me, but ordered the exact same thing as me. They call her number first. And I'm like, that was kind of the first little thing that I'm like, these people might not like how much pigment I have, but still, I'm not gonna trip about it, you know? Maybe they just got the order wrong. So I'm like, okay, well, I definitely have to be next because we had the exact same thing. No. It's about 1:25 for this point. So we've waited like 15 minutes for all of them to get their food, and I still don't have mine, despite me ordering second. We keep waiting. A bunch of other numbers get called. Every person that goes up there that has their number called, they're the color of this side of my palm. Okay, not that, they're this side. And one of my friends is like, do you want me to go ask them where your food is? Because I got social anxiety. I don't want to ask. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So he's like, do you know when number 37 is going to be out? No, my friend's been waiting for like 20 minutes. And they look up at me and they're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be 5 minutes. Do you want to guess if it was 5 minutes or not? Just a little reminder. We got there at 1 o'clock. All orders were placed at 1:10. They did not give me my food until 1:50. My order number was 37. They got to 46 before they decided they wanted to give me my food. Remember how I said my bill was like $4 more than my friend's for some reason? My white friend, mind you. I look at her receipt. They charged me extra for the boba and sauce. Why was I charged for sauce? Because the boba is supposed to come with the meal. They decided to charge it separately. When they asked if I wanted sauce and I said, yes, I want honey mustard, they added another text that despite it being free on my friend's receipt. Like, at first we were kind of joking, like, oh, they give you the black tax or they don't want to give you your food because you were black as a joke. No, that's exactly what happened. Because even when they finally did call 37, I was about to give me my food, I could see the lady was hesitant to hand it to me till I showed her the receipt. Like, this is my shit. Why am I taking someone else's food? You saw me pay for it. Like, at first I thought I was reading too much into it. There's no other reason that they would have charged me more and then waited 10 people before giving me my food as the only black person that was ordering there, other than for the fact that I was black. So TKK Chicken, Luna Hall, Chinatown. Don't go there if you don't pass the paper bag test, I guess. And if you do go there, be super nice to the workers, because they're so sweet.
Am I in the wrong for paralysing my cousin after she hit my mum and blackmailed my sister? Story time. So 2 years ago, my sister started a new embroidery business. It became so successful that she was staying till like after midnight to finish people's orders. For some reason, my cousin and his fiance got a little bit jealous over my sister's success with it all. My cousin's fiance, who we will call Amy, started spreading rumours. Now, these weren't any rumours. These were rumours that my sister was sleeping with her cousin, aka the girl who was starting the rumours' fiance. Which, like, surely that's damaging to everyone in that situation. Especially because my cousin wasn't doing anything about it. He was just saying, like, oh, it's women's business, so let it stay between women. Oh, come on, babe, get involved in the drama. It's fun. So, my mum decided to speak to their mum about it, aka her sister. My mum found out that they were basically spreading these rumours in order to be able to blackmail my sister. What were they blackmailing her for, I hear you ask? And they were doing all of this because they wanted to blackmail her into giving them her business money. Are you dumb? Are you dumb in the brain? Literally the worst plan ever. So not only did they want to make my sister feel absolutely miserable, they were taking my sister's money to fund their upcoming wedding. These people are dumb in the brain. I'm saying it right now, dumb in the brain. Like, I've never come across so much brain dumbness in my life. So all of this actually ended up coming out. And my cousin got in big trouble with the whole family. So much so that everybody that had ever put money in for their wedding pulled their money, so they couldn't afford their wedding anymore. They were furious, which is kind of fun. He was mainly mad at my mum because obviously she was the one that went and told on them. So a year later, my uncle is throwing a party for his daughter who was graduating, and all of the family were invited, including said cousin Steve. My mum and sister attended the party. However, I was unable to go because I'd got some important bits to do. So a couple of hours later, after they arrived at the party, I get a call from my mum. And she's like, you need to come and pick me up as soon as you can. So I'm like, help is on the way, dear. Mrs. Doubtfire mode activated. As soon as I get there, I pull up, I go around to the back garden. Someone please tell me why my cousin is punching my mum. I did not care what had happened. So I start running over towards him. Now, I'm just a mere girl. I'm just a girl. So I decided to pick up a chair, as you know, back up. All I remember is whamming the chair over the top of his head. I think I might have hit my mum as well. And it was not good. He then started going at me. I was throwing the chair at him more. Anyway, we both got carted off in ambulances. Long story short, I had got a 47-degree muscle tear, which required extensive rehabilitation, and I'm not gonna lie, it really fucking hurts. My cousin, however, apparently when I hit him over the back with a chair, it severed his spinal cord and left him paraplegic. Listen, I'm currently back to very, very normal living life conditions, but he will never walk again. So what do you think? Am I wrong here?
If your man does any of these things, that's not your man, and I'm certified and qualified, so I know what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? Something to you like, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship right now, like, can you wait for me? One thing a bad bitch should never do is wait for a man, okay? Because do you seriously think, like, he would ever wait for you? Serious answer, like, no, that man will literally move on to the next day, okay? And not only that, it just kind of gives, like, I'm wasting your time, you know? And a woman's time is precious. Like, do not waste your time waiting for a man, okay? You have to have the motto of what one man won't do, another man will, and just move on to the next, okay? Given he's not into you. Because he would definitely be ready to date his dream girl. Okay, babes, just move on. If y'all are getting a little pregnancy scare and he's not paying for the pregnancy test or the plan B, that's not your man, okay? If he's literally getting the blessing of filling up on your cooch, why the fuck is he not paying for that plan B? What? If you have to constantly tell him something and he's just not changing, please stand on business, because that man is not your man. Okay, they will change for the women that they truly love, and if you have to constantly remind him, it's in your face. Please. If he doesn't like you and constantly talks shit about you and he does not defend you, he's talking shit about you too with them, okay, when you're not around. And let's just say that's not your man. Okay, please. A man who actually genuinely loves you and wants the best for you will not let their family talk down on you and shit on you, okay? And it's going to be a constant fight between you versus his family and not you two versus his family. So just leave him, okay? That's not your man. If he shits on your passions and interests, like, what the fuck? Is that your bully? Like, your man is your bully. Like, your man should not be shitting on you at all, okay? Or telling jokes that have like a little hint of disrespect in them. He's insecure, okay? Or jokes on your insecurities. Drop him, please. Because what the fuck is funny? Like, he pays for something and he constantly brings up like, oh, I paid for you this one time. Like, tries to shove it in your face and make you feel bad for him paying. Like, what the fuck? Do you want a cookie? Like, what the fuck? Like, uses the fact that he paid for something against you. Like, what? If he's lusting and looking at other bitches in front of you while you guys are out, that's not your man, please. Because he's a dog. Please. It's personally a big one for me. If he lets you cry and he does not comfort you or he doesn't care that you're crying and breaking down, that's not your man, okay? He's giving very much serial killer. Like, honestly, how could you see the love of your life breaking down and not say one word to her? What? If he starts fights and he calls you out your name like the B word or just anything insulting, that's not your man, babes, please. A man who genuinely loves you and respects you would never call you out your name, and doesn't matter how mad he is. That man is not the Hulk. He can control his anger. Okay. If he punches walls, that's so fucking ugly, bro. That's not your man. Like,
my neighbors didn't like the color my house was, so they had it painted a different color while I was out of town. Okay, here we go. This was originally posted September 5th, 2015. OG. So this is probably a really weird question for me to ask, but it's a weird situation and I'm not totally sure what I can do. My house is on a corner lot. 2 years ago, a newlywed couple moved into the one house that's beside me. Right away, they started making weird comments about the color my house was painted, yellow, and soon switched to outright demanding that I paint it a different color. My house was painted yellow when it was built. I like the color and there's no bylaw against it or anything. They have called the police on me about it, as well as the city, both of whom told them to pound sand because I hadn't done anything wrong and there was nothing they could do. They also tried suing me in court. The suit was thrown out and they had to pay my legal fees, and getting our other neighbors together to form a homeowners association in hopes eventually I could be forced to paint my house a different color. Our other neighbors also told them to pound sand, and they have basically alienated themselves from everyone else in the neighborhood at this point. I recently had to go out of town for something. I was gone for 2 weeks. When I got back 2 days ago, my house was gray. Seriously, I actually almost drove past it because I'm so used to my yellow house. I knew immediately who was responsible, but when I went over and knocked on their door, no one answered. I think the couple figured out that I was away, and not just at work when they saw our neighbors collecting my mail for me, because I sure as hell never told them I was going away, and I know my other neighbors hate them too and didn't tell them. The neighbor from across the street came over and showed me pictures that he took of the painting company setting up and doing the work. He said he and another neighbor called the police, but the painting company had a valid work order and had been paid, so the police couldn't do anything. He also told us about it, but because they were paid to do the work, they said they had to do it to avoid being sued. I called the painting company to get a copy of the work order, and it was in the name of a Ms. Jane Smith and was paid for in cash. A redheaded woman and her redheaded husband came to the company to hire them. My neighbors are both redheads, saying they would be out of town and would like their house painted while they were gone. They gave the painting company pictures of my house taken from the street. I had a surveillance camera at my front and side doors and in my backyard because I work shifts, and as a woman living alone, I don't want some stranger breaking into my house and waiting to ambush me when I get home. My neighbors never set foot on my property at any time, so they can't be charged with trespassing, and they didn't do the painting, which was actually done properly. When I called the police, they reiterated that since the painters were hired, had a valid work order, and were paid to do the job, they can't be charged with trespassing because it was reasonable for them not to know, and that they were acting in good faith and didn't cause any physical damage to the house. Also, the neighbors can't be charged with trespassing or vandalism because they didn't come on my property or touch the house themselves. I don't know if I can sue anyone because there was no actual damage or harm done to me or to the house. My neighbors still have not answered their door or shown themselves. I am pissed off beyond belief because I like my yellow house, and I can't believe how crazy that they have been. I wish I could show a court or city council how psycho they have been over this. I want to know if I have any recourse or if I can do something to get them to pay to paint the house back to yellow. Does anyone know what I can do to get them to fix this and paint it back? Edit, I live in the state of Louisiana. Here's the update. Next day, September 6th, 2015. I was going to wait until after the weekend to talk to the lawyer I used for their last lawsuit against me, but there have been further developments, so I had to call him this morning. Beyond the fact that they have filed another lawsuit against me for the cost of the painters. Yes, seriously, I can't say anything further about what all has happened on the advice of my lawyer. I will provide an update once everything is resolved. Edit. Thank you to everybody who responded to my last post. You really know how to make your girl feel special. Relevant comments here. Comment. Well, I suppose that makes proving culpability pretty easy. The painters are no longer needed to pin the neighbors. Comment, seriously, didn't they just completely incriminate themselves? If so, that's actually awesome news for OP. Comment, they did. And what's better is that they're too stupid to realize they've incriminated themselves.
I found my best friend's husband on Tinder, and when I told her, she broke up with me. I have a pretty good relationship with my best friend. We're able to be honest with each other, but about certain things, I just can't talk to her. She's very, very snarky. She thinks she's very funny. So when I tell her sometimes about my deepest, darkest secrets or the problems I'm having in my marriage, weeks later, she'll put her foot in her mouth and bring it up in front of other people. I have called her out for it, but she still doesn't understand why it would bother me that she's bringing up private things that I've told her in the past. When she tells me all of her private problems, I will never repeat them to anybody else. That's what best friends are for. She has a history of making mean jokes, but because she's naturally abrasive, she doesn't realize she's being mean. For example, sometimes she makes fun of my weight. She knows I've been trying to lose weight for 5 years, and I finally got on Ozempic. Only then did I actually start to lose weight. This is when she started calling me an Ozempic baby. I kind of laughed it off, and my husband did too, but then my husband called her out for it. And when he did, she's like, oh my gosh, you guys have no sense of humor. But this is what happened with her husband. My husband actually works for Tinder, and he asked me to download the app to look at some things. He kind of uses me like his guinea pig. It's actually pretty fun, and we do it together on the couch. As we're scrolling through the app, we see a very familiar picture. It happens to be my best friend's husband. When we click into the profile, he's posting pictures that he's literally taken with her at restaurants. By the way, my husband and I have a theory that he only married her because of her money. She comes from a really wealthy family, and he's way better looking than she is. Once my husband and I see the account, he goes on his work laptop and confirms that it's actually his account. My husband and I decided that I just needed to tell her. Now, my best friend is notorious for being very, very dramatic, so I was kind of not wanting to tell her, but I knew I had to. Okay, and a little side note. In part 1, I said that she's snarky and she has foot in the mouth syndrome and that she sometimes spills my secrets. So you're probably wondering why I would be best friends with her, but she's always been there for me. So I invite her out to a cafe the next morning, and as soon as we sit down, I start to cry. Comes over to comfort me, but I couldn't actually get the words out of my mouth, so I just pulled out my phone and showed her her husband's Tinder account. That's when she says, why are you showing this to me? And I told her I thought you'd want to know the truth. Then the most bizarre thing happened. She began to list off all the reasons I'm envious of her. That I've always wanted her life, I envy her relationship with her perfect husband, that I envy her money, and that I wish I was as skinny as she is. But I defended myself quickly. I told her that of course I didn't feel those things, and that all I wanted to do was have her back and show her her husband's Tinder account. That's when she started telling me that even though her husband cheats on her, doesn't mean that I'm better than her. That my relationship with my husband is better. This is when I found out through another friend that she knew he had been cheating on her for 2 months on Tinder. That she's so desperate to keep him happy that she just ignores it. And she pays for all of his bills. Because I know for a fact this man does not work. She told my friend group that my husband and I are envious and that we're starting to make up rumors about her husband cheating. Now we're the outcasts. What should I do?
I got back with my ex and now we're getting married. So my current fiance was actually my first ever boyfriend when I was 14 years old. To me, like, I cannot count it because it was just not my first like real relationship. It was definitely a child relationship. Honestly, like, I do not call him my ex. I do not even feel like he's my ex because we never even met in person. I met Luke on a game called Minecraft when we were literally children. We dated for 2 years online and we never ended up meeting in person because we were just kids. Like, I am definitely the type of person to be like, once I say a relationship's over, like, it is over. Like, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. Yeah, it takes me a lot to end a relationship, and once I decide to do it, like, I'm serious about it. And like, he was never an ex that I thought I was gonna end up rekindling with. And actually, I think he's my only ex that I was actually on really bad terms with for a really long time. He hated me for ages. Like, we were not on good terms at all. I had never met him in person before, and then when I went to London for the first time for work, I just felt like, why not? I was single. Both of our relationships had ended, and I was like, we should just rekindle, see what happens. Because I just genuinely wanted to meet him. Not even did I want to date him. I just wanted to meet him because we had never met. And lo and behold, now we're getting married. Surprise, Sade! This is not your sign to get back with your ex, guys. If you're taking this video as that, as I said, I'm very much one of those people saying, you know, once it's done, it's done. Like, I do not believe in that. I do not stand for that. Do not try this at home. Try this at your own risk.